He killed 8 couples, 16 people, always on moonless nights, always with the same gun, always in the hills outside Florence. And after 17 years of terror, he was never officially caught. This is the story of Il Mostro di Firenze, the Monster of Florence. The hills outside Florence, Italy are beautiful. Rolling green countryside, cypress trees, golden light. For most of the world, Tuscany means romance, wine, art, history. But for the people who lived there between 1968 and 1985, those same hills meant something else entirely. They meant fear. August 21st, 1968, a small town called Signa, just outside Florence. A car parked in a quiet country lane. Inside, a man and a woman. Their names were Antonio Lobianco and Barbara Locci. They were having an affair, and they were about to become the first victims of a killer who would terrorize Italy for the next 17 years. The shots came without warning. But here is the detail that nobody could forget. Barbara's 6-year-old son, Natalino, was asleep in the back seat. He woke up to the sound of gunshots. And then, the killer picked the boy up, carried him on his shoulders, sang him a song to calm him down, and walked him to a stranger's house, left him alive at the door, then disappeared into the night. Think about that for a moment. A man who had just committed a double murder stopped to carry a child to safety, singing to him. What kind of person does that? That question haunted investigators for decades. For 6 years after that first murder, nothing happened. Then in September 1974, the monster returned. A teenage couple, Pasquale Gentilcore, 19, and Stefania Pettini, 18, were found dead in a parked car northeast of Florence, shot with a .22 caliber Beretta. The same gun, the same bullets, the same defective firing pin. It was unmistakably the same killer. But nobody made the connection yet. The murders continued. June 1981, June 1982, September 1983, July 97, September 1980. 8 double murders in total. 16 victims. Always couples. Always parked in secluded spots. Always on moonless nights. Always between 10 p.m. and midnight. The monster was not random. He was disciplined, ritualistic, patient. He would wait in the darkness for hours, watching, planning, silent. Then he would approach the car. The man first, always the man first, to eliminate the greater threat. Then the woman. It was a journalist, not a detective, who first connected the murders. Mario Spezzi, a crime reporter for the Italian newspaper La Nazione, recognized the pattern in 1981 after the third double murder. Same gun, same bullets, same method. He published his findings. He named the killer. Il Mostro di Firenze, the Monster of Florence. The name stuck, and the fear it carried spread across all of Italy. The investigation that followed was one of the most chaotic in Italian criminal history. Police arrested the wrong men, multiple times. The first suspect was Stefano Mele, the husband of Barbara Locci, the very first victim. He confessed. He was convicted. He went to prison. But while he was in prison, the monster struck again, with the same gun. So they released him, and started over. Over the years, police arrested and investigated dozens of people. They chased a theory called the Sardinian Trail, a group of Sardinian immigrants supposedly behind the murders. Several men were convicted. Several spent years in prison. And still the murders continued, or when they stopped. Nobody could be certain why. The most disturbing chapter came in the 1990s. A new theory emerged. What if the monster was not acting alone? What if he had a client? Someone wealthy, educated, powerful. Someone who commissioned the female body parts that the monster took as trophies from several of his victims. Italian police became convinced that behind the monster was a shadowy group of Tuscan elite, men of culture and standing, a sect of some kind. They called it the conspiracy of the Campagna. Investigators pursued this theory for years. They arrested a doctor, a farmer, a socialite. In 2002, they convicted Pietro Pacciani, a violent farmer with a criminal history, as the monster. Pacciani was released on appeal, then died of a heart attack before they could retry him. The journalist who had named the monster, Mario Spezzi, was himself arrested in 2006 and accused of being involved in the murders. He spent 23 days in prison before being released without charge. The lead prosecutor in the case was later convicted of abuse of power. Think about this. In trying to solve the murders of 16 innocent people, police wrongly convicted multiple men, arrested the journalist who had helped them, destroyed careers, shattered lives. And the real monster was never officially identified. The last confirmed murder was September 8, 1985. A young French couple, Jean-Michel Kravitchvili, 25, and Nadine Morio, 36, were camping in the hills near Skopje. They were the last known victims. After that night, the monster vanished. No more murders, no more clues, just silence. Did he die? Did he move away? Did he stop? Nobody knows. What we do know is this. The same .22 caliber Beretta was used in every murder, from 1968 to 1985. 17 years. The same defective firing pin. The same copper-jacketed Winchester bullets. One gun, one killer, or so most investigators believe. And that gun was never found. Decades later, the case still haunts Italy. In 2022, lawyers for 3 of the victims' families called for the investigation to be reopened. They believed evidence had been overlooked, that the truth was still buried somewhere, in the hills outside Florence. In 2025, Netflix released a 4-part series about the case, and the world remembered. 16 victims, 8 couples, 17 years of terror, and a monster who walked away. The hills of Florence are still beautiful. People still park on quiet country lanes at night, still walk through those same woods. But somewhere in that landscape, a secret remains. A name that was never spoken in a courtroom. A face that was never shown to the world. A monster who was never caught. If this story unsettled you, if it should, subscribe to Cold Trails. Because every week we follow the evidence that the world forgot. The trails that went cold, but never disappeared. I will see you in the dark.